Hello, everyone. This is George here, and these are just my quick thoughts on the WarnerMedia and Discovery Plus merger that was recently announced last night and today. So, basically, in a shocking move, Discovery and WarnerMedia are combining. So, for those of you who don't know, Discovery or Discovery Plus, they basically have things like OWN, Food Networks, mostly reality based content and channels. So you have this merger that just happened recently, and I think it kind of caught people by surprise because they thought if Warner Media was going to do some kind of merger with someone, it could be Universal because they're already merging home media for some joint venture. I talked about that in a previous video. But obviously, this comes as a big surprise. Now, some will see this as a way to make the streaming wars go into Warner Media, AT&T's favor, because they're not getting the subscription numbers that they were hoping for HBO Max. HBO Max has a lot of content, but it costs a lot of money. And unlike Disney Plus, where most of the Disney stuff stays on, a lot of Warner Brothers stuff comes and goes on there. Like, they currently don't have even the Harry Potter franchise on there, which is big for Warner Brothers. So, obviously, there are some flaws with HBO Max. Now, a lot of people are wondering, well, what does this mean? Now, it was announced later today that Jason Kilar is out. I've talked about Jason Kilar before on this channel. Pretty big with Warner Media. And obviously, there seems to be some kind of mixed reception, particularly with Zack Snyder fans, because on one hand, they see him as someone who can help restore the Snyderverse, but on the other hand, they see him as someone that not enabled, but kind of turned a blind eye to some of the antics at Warner Brothers. People like Toby Emmerich basically putting Warner Brothers down the drain the last few years. I'm not saying Warner Brothers is bad, but obviously there has been a lot of broken relationships, and it's being said that part of this merger is because of getting talent back. They basically have had some broken relationships with some of their best directors. We already know everything that's happened with Zack Snyder, how they tried hijacking his films, how they used a family tragedy to basically undo his film. And it had recently came out that even as he got his vision acknowledged, he was able to finalize his vision, apparently Warner Brothers was still torturing him or giving him a hard time in a passive-aggressive form. You obviously heard the fallout between Warner Brothers and Christopher Nolan, because Christopher Nolan didn't like how they were handling this streaming and releasing at the same time thing. Christopher Nolan's obviously passionate about the movie theaters, and it's gotten to a point where he's talking with Netflix. I know Netflix is a streaming service, but Netflix does release some films in theaters, so perhaps maybe they were getting into some kind of discussion where maybe he has his films released in theaters. I don't know, but that'd be pretty bad for Warner Brothers, because Zack Snyder already has Army of the Dead coming on Netflix, which looks great, by the way. And now you might get Christopher Nolan. Like, Netflix is going to start taking their talent, and then along with that whole streaming thing where movies come out on HBO Max and theaters at the same time, Denis Villeneuve, sorry if I mispronounced that, who's also made some great movies, his upcoming Dune film, which looks incredible, I was originally going to suffer the same fate. I wouldn't say suffer, because I'm kind of mixed on the whole thing with releasing films on HBO Max and theaters at the same time, because on one hand it stops the delaying of films for this year. Warner Brothers can release their stuff, but on the other hand, people are going to probably rather see it at home than in theaters, but that really hasn't hurt them. Godzilla vs. Kong made a lot of money still in a post-pandemic world, so they're still making money. People are still seeing these movies in theaters. But obviously they want to build this trust back, because Denis Villeneuve, I don't know if Dune is getting that kind of release. I think they're going to release it only in theaters. but my people say that the new Dune is being advertised on HBO Max, so who knows? But obviously, Denis Villeneuve isn't happy about that either. And you don't want to break the bridge with Denis Villeneuve, because if Dune's a big success and people love it, you want to make that your next big franchise. Dune looks incredible already. I actually didn't realize Dune was based off a book. I never read the book. I probably should read the book, but Dune does have a pretty big fan base. I don't know how big compared to others, but it does have a big fan base. So if Denis Villeneuve's Dune is good or fantastic, but you don't keep Denis Villeneuve on for future films, that's going to lead to a big problem. So it makes sense that they want to mend the fences. And speaking of Toby Emmerich from before, there have been the rumors that Toby Emmerich is probably going to be leaving Warner Brothers. So obviously all this feels convenient. Obviously that they want Warner Brothers to stop making bad decisions, because Warner Brothers right now, Warner Brothers feels like a sports team that keeps making bad decisions. Like, it has all this talent, but they continue to make mistake after mistake. So they're trying to fix it. They obviously want to improve their streaming content. Now, this will be very interesting to see what others streaming services are doing. Right before I started filming this, I did hear the rumor that Amazon's looking to get MGM, which would be pretty interesting to see. There's a lot of talk about what's next for Viacom or NBC, Universal. Now, obviously, the question is, what does this mean for DC Films? Does this mean Restore the Snyderverse is happening, or it's officially dead? Like I say, Jason Kilar, who many have considered to be an ally or sympathetic to Restore the Snyderverse, is going to be out. Here's the thing. I still don't know what Warner Brothers wants to do. If they think that it'll be beneficial to have it exclusively on HBO Max, they might pursue it. If not, they'll just continue what Walter Hamada wants to do. And I'm not saying what Walter Hamada wants to do is bad, but they'll just go the current direction if that's the case. But here's another idea that has come to mind. There's a possibility that they could possibly consider, now this isn't based on any rumors I heard, this is just what I'm thinking they could possibly do, because at a certain point, people might feel like the DCEU may not go in a specific direction, because we really don't know what they're going to do after The Flash, Aquaman 2, and Shazam Fury of the Gods. We'll probably find out at DC Fandom. But if obviously these upcoming X movies don't do as well, the fan interest isn't there, especially if The Flash messes up, and I'm still hoping The Flash rocks, because there's a lot of things I'm looking forward to in that film. But assuming those things don't work, and any announced projects don't work, there's a chance they could possibly reboot it. And they could use Matt Reeves' Batman film to basically reboot it. Now, I know Matt Reeves doesn't want his Batman in a DC universe, or maybe the DCEU, but you never know. Plans can change. And that's basically something that I've been thinking that they could possibly do, that could be more likely. Because, again, they want to probably not just fix relationships that were broken or bring in new talent, but they also probably want to fix some of the mistakes that have been made, which is inconsistencies with DC films. So that might be an idea they may have on the table. It can go in either direction. They could maybe restore the Snyderverse. Or another thing that I've been thinking of is they could do the Legend of Zelda approach, which is have different timelines. In one timeline, which movies are coming out in theaters, it's the Hamadaverse. In another timeline, they can do Snyderverse. That's an idea they can possibly do, assuming that they see a gain in streaming. They can just move with Harmoniverse. Or they could just reboot it. I don't know. We don't really know. This doesn't mean Snyderverse is safe or not. They may not even care. Who knows? And I want Snyderverse to be restored. I think that's the better direction. But I recognize that some things look unlikely. Now, you did get that rumor from Mikey Sutton on Geekosity that they are interested in an Arkham Knight Ben Affleck Batman miniseries. And I'm not saying I believe that, but I can see them doing that as a continuation. Because, again, as of right now, Walter Hamada is still at Warner Brothers. He's still the DC Films president. And he was brought in to cut the costs down, to make smaller budget stuff than what Zack Snyder was making. And I can see them doing something like a Deathstroke or a Ben Affleck Batman miniseries or film where you're going to have a smaller budget just to make the fans happy. But yeah, I think Snyderverse is up in the air with this Discovery HBO Max thing. It could look unlikely. It could happen. I'm not going to give a straight answer. But it also does mean that they could also possibly reboot it if they see it's not going anywhere. So the fate of DC is up in the air. Pretty interesting what's happening right now. And like I said, there's not much more I know about or have a take on. All I know is it looks like they want to try to fix what was broken with struggling to get talent, pushing talent away, whether it was actors or directors. Maybe trying to fix franchises that seem like there's nowhere where they're going. No one knows what's happening with them. Maybe to help HBO Max get more subscribers, bring in more content. It's going to be very interesting to see. So what do you guys think about this Discovery WarnerMedia merger? All in all, as long as it gives us more good content, I'm good with it. Even if we don't get Snyderverse, if it means we can improve DC films regardless, I'm for that as well. I just want good movies and shows, and if you can give me some good movies and shows, I'll support this. So what do you guys think about this? Comment below and let me know. And thank you guys for watching. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. This was an unplanned video because I didn't know if I wanted to talk about this or not, but it feels like this could be a positive. I didn't know what to think about this at first, but it looks like something good could come out of it. So, let's hope something does happen. Take care, guys, and enjoy your day.